Hello and welcome to my new video. Today I'm going to be talking about neutrality. So what do I mean by neutrality? I mean the place between the positive and the negative. I mean the place of no expectation, just being, just experiencing, just in the now. There is nothing more. You experience information as just information. There is no labels, there's no nonsense. So how is this a useful concept? Well, I'm sure all of you at one point has lost your keys, lost your phone, lost your passport, something like that. You have a deadline, you're panicking, you've ripped your house apart, you've looked through all your drawers and flipped over the couch. You're going nuts just to find a special item. And it's only when you say, screw it, I'm going to go have a cup of coffee or have that cigarette or just stare at the birds out the window. It's that moment when you detach and you stop. You'll find your keys. You know, how many times has it happened? You've given up, you know you're late already, who cares? But it's only then you realize there they are, sitting on the kitchen counter or sitting on the coffee table. It's only then when you detached and you become neutral to it that you actually could clear your mind, clear your experience and notice it. You were neutral to the idea of finding your keys. So what's happening there? You're trying to find your keys. You really want to find your passport. You really have this need. There's an urgency. There's a deadline. You've got an emotional and mental investment in finding this object. You have an electromagnetic charge. There is basically a holding of space where you don't have your keys or you don't have your passport. You keep experiencing this loop. It's only until you step outside of that, you start experiencing something else, i.e. cup of coffee, cigarette, whatever it is you do, that's not finding your keys or finding your passport, where you can see from a different perspective. So how can you use this in a practical way? Well, as I've demonstrated through my previous videos and the different exercises I've given you, they all have a similar element where we are taking our attention into our body, into, you could say, our heart or our center. This is a neutral spot. This is not necessarily a special magical point that we have to focus on. It's just getting you out of your head. That's all it is. It's just a different way of getting you outside of your mind, your normal mental thinking state, or at least altering it. See, that's what I'm really talking about here. Just a slight altered state of mind is all you really need to make a change. I'm not talking about a deep meditative state or completely detaching and have an out-of-body experience. And you can have that, that's fine, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do very much in order to make massive changes. And the more you realize that, the more it becomes just an everyday thing. So how do you actually apply this sort of thing? Well, let's say you have a headache, you have a problem at work, you have an issue of some variety. You don't like it, you want it to change. Well, what do? Something different. You forget about it. You've already made a statement to the universe and yourself that you don't want this anymore, or you would like this now. However it's playing out is not satisfactory in your mind. So what you need to do is stop, maybe do it, as I said before, move down into your heart, move down into your center, detach, notice what you notice, experience the moment for what it is. There isn't anything to do. There isn't anything to think about. You just have a moment where you do nothing. Now go back to doing something else. Shift up your perspective. Once you shift up your perspective, you have a chance of experiencing something different. Once you truly get this, things will be very different for you. It's the same thing as if you were to focus on something. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? It never seems dry. It never goes away because you're staring at it. It's very boring. It holds it into place because there's nothing else going on. You're absorbed into the moment if you can get absorbed into watching paint dry. But it's the same sort of thing as a painful leg or a bad experience, because we're letting it run around and around and around in our heads so much, we have no room for anything else. We have no room for a different experience. It's like a catch-22. We want to fix it. And the only way we know how to fix things is by doing something, because that's the only way we've been taught to fix things is by doing. Well, sometimes if doing isn't working, then try not doing anything at all. I mean, when was the last time you actually just stopped and did nothing? And truly just sat and had no thought, no need to think, didn't care? Probably a very long time for some of you. That's a very sad thing, because It's great. Sometimes you need to detach. Sometimes you need to do just nothing. Sometimes we feel guilty. Well, I'm just being lazy. I should be doing something. I should be washing dishes. I should be sorting my clothes out for work tomorrow. Well, yeah, you could be doing that. And you will, if you just give yourself some space. And don't have the guilt, don't have the worry, don't have the expectations. Then it'll make those tasks later much easier. If you just give yourself some time to do nothing. To sit, to be, to experience. Not watch TV, not sit there and play games, not reading, not doing anything, just being there in your own space. If it means thinking, then think. But watch your thinking. Be observant of your thoughts. The more you learn to observe your thoughts, the more powerful they become. It just happens. Things just start flowing. Because you become aware. And that's really the key to everything, is becoming aware at a different level. And the more you become aware, you will soon realize there is no need to have expectations. They are just illusions, and the more we invest in them, the more that we get tangled up in them. So the next time you're flustered about something and you can't find something, or you're really yearning for something, then try and just move away from that. Have some time, relax, detach, and do something else. Think about something else. The more you start doing that, the more you have a chance of getting those things you want. This may sound a bit silly. I mean, it's so simple. So why wouldn't it just be like this all the time? Well, we grow up believing that we have to be working to get a result. We have to fight for it. We have to, we have to put all this effort and energy into getting the things that we want. Well, of course, we're ingrained with this concept that we have to be doing all the time. I mean, can you truly say that when you do this thing, you're in that state trying to find or obtain something, that you ever have a moment where you stop and just do nothing? Can you really truly say you've done it? Really, really, really? Without any thought or guilt or perception or worry? Probably not, because there's always been something in the back of your mind rolling around about it. So you could say that it's easier said than done. Well, if that's the case, that's where you kind of need to use the other exercises like I presented in my other videos. You need to swap and change up your reality. You need to perceive your issue as something else. As I was explaining in my geometry videos, turning something into a box or a tetrahedron or Metatron's cube is just a different perspective. It's a different way of changing up how you're experiencing that pattern, that problem, that issue. It's just a different way of experiencing it. And when you step into that place, you're stepping into the neutral zone. You have no expectations, and therefore things can play out differently. I always like to say expectation is the killer. Never have an expectation when it's something that you want, because you're either going to get what you want or not what you want, because we're living in a dualistic world, dualistic perception of reality, and there's always going to be a positive and negative. But if you can stop that and just experience something for what it is, very magical things can show up. Well, I think I'm going to stop there and leave you with that for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like more information about what I do or about total consciousness, you could find my website listed below in the description. I hope you have a great day and see you again soon.